this is my 1 year delayed Korea vlog. It was meant to come out a year ago, but I got YouTube shy again. But I actually had this video like 80% done. It was all edited, and the only thing missing really was this voiceover. But something about the video just wasn't feeling right, and as I said, I got YouTube shy, and so the video just never came out. But I adore this video, and so here I am, posting it anyway and correcting the things that weren't quite resonating but now feels wonderful. And I love to share this trip with you, and so here it is. Come along with us to Seoul. We spent the first evening in Hongdae. I believe this was the day we arrived. We ended up going to Hongdae, and our accommodation was only like a 35-minute walk to Hongdae. And this restaurant ended up being our go-to. I can't remember what it was called. If you took me back to Hongdae, I'd be able to show you where it was. But the food was so comforting, and it was just perfect for that first day, having landed in a new country. And take me back, please, take me back. But yes, back to the accommodation. We stayed in an Airbnb in Hapton, and so we could walk to Hongdae, but if not, the metro station was only like a less than 10-minute walk away, so everywhere was so accessible, and I loved it. So next on our agenda the following day was this mall, which happened to only be a 5-minute walk away from where we were staying. Completely unplanned. When I looked this mall up on TripAdvisor, it was one of the most highly recommended places to go to, and so we were so fortunate that this was right on our doorstep, despite how crazy windy it was that day. Like, you can't see it in the video, there's nothing blowing around. Oh, this matcha, best matcha of my life. The barista who made it, thank you. But you can't see anything blowing around, but trust me, the winds were crazy that day. After that, we just headed back to the accommodation for a little breather, a little rest. We grabbed some food from the supermarket that was in the basement below the mall, and ready-made food to go in Korea is just a completely different ballgame to what we get here in the UK. I wish that this was the food we get. I love Inari pockets, I know they're Japanese, but I wish we could just get decent quality made Inari pockets. And all the tofu that we got from this mall that we ended up cooking with a couple times ourselves in the evening. It was just so good. And on the topic of food and tofu, this is Vegan Kitchen. If you are a vegan person visiting Seoul and are looking for somewhere where you can get iconic Korean fried chicken but as a vegan substitute, then this is the place to go. And then on top of that, they do have other bright and colourful foods. So after this meal, you will feel nourished and ready to go to stuff yourself even further with street food. This, of course, is Myeongdong. I realized later on that a lot of people recommend going to Mangwon Market because the prices are more of what a local would pay for rather than being bumped up to a tourist sort of price. And Mangwon Market is actually very near to where we were staying, so it's a shame that we missed out on that one. But that's a little tip that I heard of, and this is a little bag that I made for my best friend because they love BTS and I love them. Here we are having a little soju before we go to bed apparently, and I got this lollipop from I have no idea where now, but I will always accept a Coca-Cola flavoured lollipop. Although thinking about it now, I think there might have been chocolate flavoured and that I did not like. No. This, however, I do like. K-pop albums are so much cheaper in Korea, understandably, and so I definitely made the most of that whilst being there. Day 3, Starfield Library. So I'm sure you have seen this library all over TikTok, all over Instagram, and it stuns just as much in real life, if not more, than what you see online. We didn't spend too much time there, we was more so there to just absorb the ambience of it and appreciate the architecture of it and all the books. But then after that we went straight to this cafe, which, as you can see, is so beautiful. It had this section that Hannah's standing in now where you could adopt some fish to take home and also get lovely little habitats for them too. And so if you are planning on coming to this cafe, I would recommend doing so with a lot of time because the queue was dense. However, we did make it, and again, I just had to have another matcha because this trip is entirely matcha coded. I miss it. So for the remainder of this video, I'm gonna try and not talk your ears off too much. At times I'll just be quiet and let you be there in the moment with us, hear what we were hearing, and just be there. And so this view is one of those moments. Bukjeon Hanok Village. Unknowingly, we went on a Sunday, which apparently tourists aren't meant to go on a Sunday. Like, you will see signs saying that it's closed. However, of course, there are still people there. I think as long as you are quiet and respectful of the residents, it's okay. And so, it was quieter, but still a lot of people there. So if you do want to beat a huge crowd of people, then go on a Sunday, but just be aware to be extra mindful and respectful of the people who live there. So since arriving in Korea, I really wanted to try bungeoppang. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But it is this sweet custard-filled or red bean paste-filled fish. I named mine Bobatheth. And then I proceeded to eat Bobatheth, and it was great. You are dearly missed, Bobatheth. So to get to Namsan Tower, you take a shuttle bus, which is the 01A or the 01B. Then it drops you off at this viewing platform, at which point you then walk the rest of the way up to Namsan Tower. But even if you don't go into the tower all the way up the elevator, which you of course have to pay to do, the views are still absolutely incredible where you get off of the shuttle bus. But we did go all the way up to the top, and it was a bit foggy. However, again, stunning, and you just sort of get a moment to experience the peace of being so up high. So this second to last day was probably one of our favorite days. However, if I'm being honest, every single day was my favorite day. But this day, I had planned everything around Han's interest. The whole day was for her, and I'd surprised her with the itinerary because I thought it was just something that I could do for her birthday. And so part of that was trying to take her on a tour of various record stores around Seoul. This one is Peter Pan Vinyl, and I'd absolutely recommend going to it. It has such an eclectic mix of music, and so you are sure to find a hidden gem. We then proceeded to go to another record store, which happened to be closed, hence why I said try to take her on a tour of record stores around Seoul. But instead we went straight to Analog Garden. Again, another place with lots of vegan options. I think this wrap that Han had was one of the best wraps of her life. I cannot remember what was in it, but if that is not an incentive to go to Analog Garden, then the vibes alone should be.
People play pool and stuff.
Yeah.
And they pay to play pool. Which one? The orange one?
The orangey with the leaf. One of the highlights of this whole trip was exploring Seoul's local music scene. So Han and I ventured to Evans, which is a jazz club, and that night they had improvisational music on, and so here is a little glimpse of what that experience was like. Honestly, it was magical, and these musicians were just insanely talented, and I hope that you can appreciate that through the screen. And so we are nearing the end of the trip, and every single day I think about this trip and how much I miss it and how much I wish I could just be back there. And even though it's nearly a whole entire year later, the memory of this holiday hasn't sort of just blurred and mushed itself into one vague memory mess. I can remember everything so vividly and clearly, and precise little moments from each day. And I think that's simply because of how present both Hannah and I felt during this trip and the way that we curated it for ourselves. And so I really wish that it is not too long until we are back there. I hope so much that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have enjoyed this travel content, then Hannah and I are off to Paris soon, so hopefully I will be back with another travel vlog for you to enjoy.